we were considering infinitesimal changes in a small volume element of a typical fluid flow so as to develop the required equation, and in this case we are trying to develop continuity equation. For this, let us assume that the fluid particle is moving with the velocity v, and as you are aware, velocity is a vector, and in space, in a three-dimensional situation, in x, y, z in rectangular coordinates, let there be I be a unit vector in the x direction, j be a unit vector in the y direction, and k be a unit vector in the z or z direction. So v therefore can be written as the velocity v as its rectangular components u that depends on t, x, y and z, v, the velocity v component, the smaller one, is depending upon the same variables t, the time, and x, y, z, and w, the velocity component in the z direction, is this, and they are scalar quantities as shown here. So let velocity be written in this form. In some cases you may note that the velocity normally is written as u into I plus v into j plus w into k. So it really does not matter whether I, j, k are written first or it is written after, as long as we know that they are the unit vectors that are taken to be unit vectors in rectangular coordinates in x, y, z direction respectively. And let at time t1 the rho, the value of the density rho be rho 1, and then it will depend on the time t1, x1, y1. That is, at the initial time t1, where the coordinates x1, x, y, z were lying, and they are denoted by x1, y1, z1. In a similar manner, at time t2, the density rho 2, let us say, becomes equal to rho, and then it depends on the time t2, x2, y2, z2. The rectangular coordinates, of course, change at different times, but it's quite normal that density does not change as rapidly as it may happen in gases. So in the liquids, for example, in most cases, density does not vary too much with the variation in time, but for gases, it's a different situation altogether. As we know from the calculus, the elementary calculus, that by writing a variable, we can write a function in a series form when it is if there is a change with respect to some variable, and in this case, if we assume that there is a change with respect to time, so therefore we write rho 2 to be equal to rho 1. We are trying to write rho 2 in the form of rho 1. So it will be rho 1 plus partial derivative of density rho divided by delta t with respect to at time t1 into t2 minus t1. And similarly, we write the second term, the third term, and the fourth term. So these are the first derivative of this function in the expansion of the Taylor series if we write down. Remember that we have just written the first term. This is the first absolute term. These are the first partial derivatives. And then since Taylor series is supposed to comprise second order, third order, fourth order, up to nth order derivatives. So there will be many more derivatives and similar terms occurring. Now they are not written here, and we have simply written that these first terms plus the higher order terms. Whatever higher order terms are there, we are not writing them, but we assume that they will be of the similar form. But they will be very lengthy terms, so they are not being written. And in a way, we have only written the linear part. The time derivative then can be written as shown on the right hand side in the following equation. So what we have done is that this term, like x2 minus x1, y2 minus y1, and similarly here there is t2 minus t1. So taking a similarity, we are dividing every term with respect to time. Because if we are trying to see the change with respect to time, then in calculus, what do? For an infinitesimal change, we take the small difference from one point to another and take the ratio between the two values at 2 points that are being considered. So anyway, if we divide throughout by t2 minus t1, and we are dividing, remember, throughout. So it means we are dividing by t2 minus t1 all those second order terms that are supposed to be written there. This ... means that there are second order terms that are also being divided but not written here. And then after doing this part, we take the limit as t2 tends to t1. So that means we are reducing the time difference between t2 and t1 to be small enough but good enough to give an indication of a fluid flow. Similarly, we take the limit for x, y and z variable also respectively, and we know from the knowledge of calculus that these things are denoted by the velocity components u, v and w, and the rho is written as d rho by dt, and the d is capital here because this denomination is chosen for material derivative. If you will remember, we also have this delta x by delta t limit as delta t tends to 0 is written as dx by dt. So it is that kind of thing that we are taking into consideration, and that will take us to these velocity components, because we know that dx by dt will be u and dy by dt is v, and so on. So taking the limits and ignoring all the second order terms. So we have done two things. One, we have taken the limits as mentioned earlier, and all the second order terms are dropped, and therefore now we obtain this equation d rho by dt equals partial derivative of rho with respect to time plus the other variables as indicated, and d by dt, the capital D by dt, can now be seen to be this component.